over 500 wholesale deals.
Yeah.
And that started what year?
2016. So it'll be 9 years in September this year.
And you've slowed down on wholesale deals and focused more on transactional funding?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. I did what everybody else did. I got started.
Yep.
And, proof of concept, did some deals, was like, wow, this is amazing. It's the coolest thing ever. And then right away I was like, let me scale this thing. I feel like 7-8 years ago, the sexy big thing was like scale, right? I think I went to an event that was actually called Scale.
There was a lot of events
So,
that had scale in it. Yeah.
Instead of like, hey, why don't you perfect the craft a little bit more, like get your feet wet, or hey, if you're doing one of these, maybe you could do 2 of these, whatever. And just slowly but surely, it's like, oh yeah, I got this figured out. Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, let's take it virtual. Let's go on some other markets. Let's get somebody else to do acquisitions, dispo, all that stuff. So built it up pretty quickly, and did really well with that. We were doing 15, 20. I think the most we ever did was close to 30 deals in a month. We were based in Charlotte, but we did Houston, Dallas, some markets in Florida, dabbled in Alabama a little bit. And it's cool. It's fun, but it's a lot. Like, it's a lot. Like, all that overhead. We had a really nice office space that was like $5,000-6,000 a month, paying people good base salaries. When it's good, it's good. But if you have a month that it's not so good, or 2 or 3 months that's not so good, it's tough. And then also never brought anyone in to kind of run the show.
Sure.
Right. I had a business partner at the time, and him and I did a little bit of everything. And it just got to a point where it's like, we've made a lot of money. We've done well. But do I want to do this long term at this scale?
Is it sustainable? Yeah.
Is it sustainable? So I'd say right around 2 years ago, I started thinking maybe not scale, maybe do the opposite of that, or what do I really want to do with it? And then about 18 months ago, my business partner and I had just like a real conversation, and he kind of wanted to go one direction. I wanted to do something else. I got into the transactional funding, and we were just honest, and we were like, hey, at this point, let's just, we wouldn't be where we are, and I wouldn't have the knowledge and background and everything that I have now without starting things with him. But let's be honest with each other, and if we want to split ways, let's split ways. So that's what we decided to do. And before that, a few months before that, we started tracking stuff a little bit better. We started holding people a little bit more accountable. And one by one, people started saying, hey, this isn't the best fit for me, right? Like, we were the cool, fun office. Like, we're making money. We hired some people that were friends, but didn't hold them super accountable, that sort of thing. And then when we got pretty strict about it, that's when people started being like, right. And that kind of thing. And we were just like, hey, it kind of organically like flushed itself out.
I feel like that, but you know what I feel like that is? That's like when you're dating the wrong person,
right?
But you don't want to break up with them,
right?
But so you just you don't do all the same things, and you kind of like, you're kind of nitpicking a little bit more, and you're kind of like, you know what I mean? Yeah. You know what you're trying to do, but you're not quite committed to like shutting it all down and starting all brand new.
Right.
It's just easier to like let it atrophy and let people go, and then all of a sudden you go your separate ways. You know what I mean?
They start picking up the hints.
Right.
You're not texting as much.
Right.
You're not bringing home flowers. You're not doing that sort of thing. So I think it was a mutual thing in the partnership and even in the business, where everybody kind of felt that and had that sense.
Yep.
But then eventually you do have to kind of man up and have that conversation, right? And just be like, this is how I really feel. This is what I really want to do. And then lo and behold, they're like, well, I'm glad you said that, because this is kind of where I want to go. Yep. But until you have that, but you do slowly but surely start pulling away a little bit.
Well, it's the culture of the business. If your culture changes drastically, the people that are used to a different type of environment are going to be gone.
Yeah.
And that's just part of business. But let me shift tracks a little bit and tell you why transactional funding historically has just been a pain in the butt for me.
Okay.
All right. And I'm saying it very nicely. Pain in the ass, really.
Okay.
One, notoriously bad. The underwriting process is very mysterious in a lot of ways. So I don't know what they need. I don't know what they want. Do you want the purchase agreements? Do you want my blood sample? Do you want, the last 3 addresses that I lived at? Everybody has these different, the different criteria of what they're looking for in a transactional funding deal. And then horrible communication.
Terrible.
Horrible communication.
Terrible. Yeah.
What is happening with transactional funding, the transactional funding business?
I had the same experience. And then that's when I had my light bulb moment. I was like, this is terrible. This sucks. And you being that investor, that wholesaler, you're the middleman. So on the day of closing, if things aren't getting closed and funded, who are they calling? They're reaching out to you. The seller is, the buyer is, the title company, whoever it is. And if your funder, if your lender isn't there and doing what they're supposed to do, it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
So we went 4 or 5 years with never doing a double close, all assignments all the time. And then 2020 COVID time, all the iBuyers, hedge funds, whoever, we started selling to them, and they either said you have to double close, or any assignment fee over 15K, like wink, wink, nudge, nudge, you better double close because I'm going to pass this up the chain and they're going to say, hell no, we're not doing that.
The title company.
No, the buyer, the iBuyers.
Oh, yeah.
The buyers. So
Yeah,
we'd
yeah,
have conversations with their acquisition guys and we get cool with them and they'd be like, hey man, like you're going to make like 25, 30K on this. I can tell you, even though this fits our criteria in our buy box and it's at a good price, my guy, my manager, my boss, my whatever is going to like pump this down and tell me to retrade it because we see that assignment fee. So out of necessity is like, okay, I remember being like, I'm not really sure what a double close is. Let me figure this out. So I asked around and figured out. And so I started reaching out to people to do it. And I just some local guys where I'm like, hey, you've given me a hard money loan before. Like, what do you think about this? It's same day. And either they would just say no, or they'd be like, yeah, but there was no process. There was terrible communication. I got left hanging multiple times by guys on the day of closing where I'd have to just like come up with an excuse or push the closing out a little bit more. Like literally guys on the golf course, like, hey, I'm on the 9th hole. I'll be done in like 3 hours and I'll run to the bank and do it. And you're like, no, dude, like now we need to fund this, right? So it was one of those things where I was just like,
that really happened?
100%. I had that, and I had a guy that was like, hey bro, I'm hog hunting. He went down to like Alabama.
Yeah.
He's like, cover your ears, I'm about to shoot this hog. Like I'll fund it later. And I'm like, what? So because I'm a communicator, over communicator. I know how important that is and everything. So after a while, I was just like, this is terrible. So can I package something together as a wholesaler for other wholesalers where exactly what you said, where it's like, what's the missing pieces? And it's communication. It's the process, make the process as simple as possible, and then just be able to perform and not charge people an arm and a leg. Because these guys were charging me like 4 or 5 points. I was making 30, 40K on a deal, and I was like, oh, cost of business, I guess, right?
Yep.
But I was like, hey, if you really want to be the go-to or really test this thing out, like package it up. So I started funding local deals in Charlotte, just reaching out to other wholesalers because great market, big market, a lot of people are in there. And I was like, hey, what do you think? Like just getting their feedback. What would work best for you? I know what would work best for me, but let me get your feedback. So I started doing it. And the biggest thing is you hit the nail on the head. It's just like communication. Let them know what they need to do each and every time. And then it's like, how can I make that as simple as possible? So for me, there's no big underwriting, honestly. People reach out to me. That's one of their biggest questions is like, would you have to do like a credit check? Do you have to underwrite the deal to see if it makes sense or works? And I'm like, I don't care about any of that.
Bank statements, the whole thing.
Could be your first deal, could be your 1,000th deal, right? To me, it's when you have a contract with the seller and you have a contract with the buyer, go to my website or I'll text you the link. You fill it out. It's just general information. It's going to ask your name, business name, your contact info, and then the subject property address, and then an estimate of what you're going to need, right? Like, because your cost to close, you're probably covering closing costs, all that kind of stuff. It's going to change a little bit, but tell me it's 200K, even if it ends up being 203, it's fine. And then an estimated closing date, because we all know nothing ever closes on time. So you submit that, send it to us, you'll get a quick intro email, and then we just say, just introduce us to the closing company. Because all of our communication is going to go through them.
Yeah, sure.
Right? I'm not going to bug you and be like, hey, Brent, why did that deal get pushed? Or, hey, Brent, what's going on with the HUD? It's changed 5 times. Title, or if you're an attorney state, can just tell us all that. So just make it as simple as possible, communicate, and just lay everything out there. And then on the day of closing, we will fund it when everyone signed the A to B, everyone signed the B to C, all the closing docs. And then our one big thing is that in-buyers funds have to be in escrow. We got to make sure they're fully committed and they're on board. Once that happens, we wire it directly to title. They'll close the first one, then back to back, they'll close the second one, then they'll disperse funds and handle all of that. So doing that and setting that process up, now most of our new business is referral, word of mouth, right? Like we haven't started marketing heavy yet. We do it nationwide. But that's the biggest thing is like, just make it simple, just straightforward.
Yeah, but it's like 3 or 4 points, right?
No.
I mean, that's what some of these people charge.
90% of what we fund is actually less than a point.
Less than a point.
Yeah.
Explain what a point is for anybody that doesn't know what a point is.
One point is it's based off the amount that you need. So it's 1%. So the way that we structure it is our average fund, the deal that we fund is about $225K.
Mm-hmm.
So off that $225K, we charge 3/4 of a point. So if you need $225,000 to close your transaction with your seller, we'll charge 0.75, so 3/4 of a point, and then we have an admin fee of $250.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't bring that to the closing table. You don't pay anything up front. We get that when the second deal closes and everything gets dispersed. We get our money back along with our fee. You get your profit. So if it's a larger deal, like $500K to $1 million, we bump it up. It is at a point.
Mm-hmm.
And then we do some bigger deals too. And we do those just kind of like case by case with what the amounts are. Because there's people that are double closing on RV parks, portfolio deals, commercial deals. Like it's not just single family deals or pieces of land. Right? So, but yeah, we keep it super reasonable because like I said, like I put this together as out of necessity, out of seeing there was a lack for it in the space. And I also, not to sound too corny about it, but like wholesaling has changed my life.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's greatest thing
Me
ever.
too.
It's amazing.
Be as corny as you want.
Yeah. It's changed my life.
Yeah.
So, I have always thought since like early on is like, I'm not a data guy. I'm not a great coach. Right. I don't have all that community and whatnot. I'll help anybody out. Right. Like I'll walk people through anything I can with my experience, but what do I have that I can like almost give back? Like what product can I put together that would help other wholesalers? Because when I started out, double closing was terrible. There was no process, anything like that. So this to me is like the thing I've been looking for to put together to bring it back to the wholesaling space. And be like, let me work with as many people as possible. Let me help them out. And let me provide something that's not going to cost them an arm and a leg. Because that profit you need to run your business. Yeah. My whole thing is like protect your profit, right? If you're making a good chunk, 50, 60, 100K, you deserve that. And you don't need that blowing up on you at the closing table because the seller sees it, because the buyer sees it, whatever. So my whole thing is let me make something straightforward, simple, streamlined. And let me make it so attractive that people are like, I want to work with Pete. Every single time.
Well, I mean, even, 2019, when Illinois passed it, you have to have a real estate license to wholesale, to assign deals. I was like, oh, this is going to happen a lot. I go, I remember talking to my buddy Chris, who's a big hard money lender here in town, and he does transactional funding. And I go, you're going to blow up with transactional funding if that ever comes to Arizona. It hasn't. We have our own disclosures that we have to put in our purchase agreements, but I think it's now 13 states require a real estate license to do an assignment.
Yeah.
And real estate entrepreneurs, they're like, you can't tell me what to do. You can't tell me I need to be licensed. I'm not going to do that.
Right.
I'm going to figure something out. And really the answer to that is transactional funding, because you're not assigning, you're actually closing on it and selling it at the same time. Yeah. Now, some states are a little bit tricky with your ability to market the property before you own it. So transactional funding doesn't really work in that. But if it's required to have a license to be able to wholesale and you don't want to do that, then you have to flip. That's essentially what you're talking about. You're talking about the fastest flip of all time.
Right.
I mean, it literally happens same day.
Right.
Buyers already have their funds in. You go and fund this wholesaler or flipper, I guess it would be at this point.
Right.
Or fast flipper, we'll call it.
Right.
Speedy flippers. I don't know.
Flipper.
We'll
Velocity
tag it something.
flipping.
Sure.
That could be anything.
That's your business name. Anyway, this is the solution. And I always say this: there's always more money than there are deals. There's always more money than there are deals. And it took me a long time early on to wrap my head around, wait a second, I just have to find a money partner that will have the money in an account that will support me going out and making cash offers. Because if you go out and make a cash offer and you don't have the cash and you don't have a financial backer, you're lying.
Yeah. 100%.
You're lying. That's fraud. You are
Right.
lying. You
Right.
need to have a financial backer if you're going to be a cash buyer, whether that's a proof of funds. Do you give proof of funds?
Yeah.
What does that look like?
I have a link for that too. You submit it, and within 24 hours, we'll send it over to you.
Boom.
Now, it's just like a simple one pager
Yeah.
that says you tell me the property address, the amount that you're going to make an offer on.
Yep.
And I put that exact amount on there. Some people are like, why don't you give a spread? And I'm like, if you're going to make a $150,000 offer or something, and I say that I'll fund you up to $200K, what's that seller going to say?
Right.
Well, you can at least give me 160, 170.
Yeah, but
right?
with you having the ability to give 100% for everything, closing costs, the purchase price, all of everything bundled up in there, I am now a cash buyer if I have $0 in my personal account.
100%.
All I have to do is find the opportunity.
Yeah, we find
That's what's so amazing about this business.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's what also leads a lot of knuckleheads into this business. But that's what's also amazing about this business.
Yeah,
especially if you're young, especially if you're starting out, especially if you've screwed up like I did. And I was in my, 30s before I figured out what wholesaling was, but I was completely destroyed financially and then found wholesaling. You're saying it's Cordy that it changed your life. I mean, holy cow, bro. I mean, it was like I found the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow when I did my first assignment. You know what I mean?
Amazing.
Because it's just the absolute to be able to go out with your own energy and enthusiasm and conviction and go talk to a property owner that has this property that they want to trade price for speed and convenience. I just felt like it was a cheat code in business and in real estate. It's just the most incredible model of all time.
I found out about it. A guy I went to high school with, he was posting on Facebook Live.
Yeah.
I was like, this guy's full of shit.
Right.
I was like, there's no way. But he kept posting. And finally I called him and he talked my ear off for like an hour and a half.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, he is either really full of it or he found something awesome. So then I went to like his little local meetup and then just started talking to other people. But I'd been interested in real estate. I'd been interested in real estate investing for a long time, but I thought you had to have a bunch of money or a rich uncle or be a general contractor. So I was like,
or be a realtor, get a license, all those things. That's what I thought.
Yeah, which I did. But then
Right.
I did like 2 deals in 2 years and I was like, I hate this. This
Right.
is boring. Right. So yeah, once I found it, I was just like, oh my God, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. So yeah.
So you're the money guy.
I'm the money guy. Like I said, I wish this would have been around when I first started because I had probably a handful of deals in the first few years where I either had to go back and renegotiate or a couple people walked away because they saw that assignment fee.
Yeah.
I had one time an attorney call me on speaker and he was like, hey, Pete, this is so-and-so. I'm like, yeah, what's going on? And he's like, we got a little bit of an issue. He's at the closing table, speaker, seller was right there. She went through the HUD. She saw the assignment fee. And you can prep a seller all day long. Like, I'm going to bring somebody else to the table or I'm going to be the middleman. You can say whatever and they'll be fine with it. But once people start counting what you're making, then there's always an issue. So he was just like, Mrs. So-and-so wants to talk or whatever. And she just like was like, what exactly is this? And I was like, well, we're at the closing table, so I can just explain it to her again. I'm sure we'll be fine. And she just said, I don't agree with this. And unless we make an adjustment right now, I'm going to leave. And I said, that's not what we agreed to. Let's just finish this. And she got up and walked away.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, oh man.
What do you think is the right amount? Like above how much that you're making, should you be doing a double close? In your opinion?
I do it now for everything because I have a business around it, right?
Yeah.
And I have a threshold too where I won't touch a deal. If I'm not making 25K on it, I just walk away from it. That's like a Tom Kroll rule that he talked to me about a while ago. And he's just like, you have to set a standard. And it's changed my business because right now I go after quality, not quantity. I used to do quantity with the big team.
Right.
And the smaller deals are almost always the hardest.
Always.
So I would say if you set a threshold of 15K, right? And it depends on too with your title company. Like some people can still do pass-through funding. Some people still have a title company that will do like blind HUDs and all this stuff where nobody sees it. And as an investor wholesaler, I'm like, if you can do that still, go for it.
Yeah.
Right? Like
Sure.
do it. Like make your money, take that profit, put it back into the business, pay yourself too. But I would say 15K is a pretty good threshold. Anything over that, people's eyes start getting bigger, or you're clinching at the closing table or anything like that. And then definitely any of the large chunkier ones, like double closing just makes everything so much cleaner.
Yeah.
So much easier, right? And especially the fact that we'll pay the entire cash to close. You don't have to bring anything to it. Yeah.
It's huge. I mean, people listening to this podcast, if you're, oh, I don't have all the money and I can't take action and I can't go out there and say I'm a buyer. You are now a buyer.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
You are christened a buyer. Go forth and find amazing deals out there because you got Money Man Pete here ready to fund your deals. That is at velocityadvantagecapital.com. Guys, it'll be in the link of the podcast. It'll be a link in the show notes on YouTube, so you don't have to write it down. It's all right there. Just make sure that you go to the site and then fill out a little bit of information, get a proof of funds. Is that first step?
Yep. There's a big blue box that says submit a deal. So that's to submit an actual deal if you have a contract with a seller and a buyer. And then also we have a link too for proof of funds. And it's almost the exact same form. It's just going to ask address, how much it's for, how much you need, that sort of thing.
Yep.
And then within 24 hours, you'll get a proof of funds letter in your inbox.
Yeah.
So we don't nickel and dime for those. We just want to work with people, want to help people out. So.
Well, I'm going to challenge you now.
Okay.
Here's the challenge, and this is for the audience and everybody listening, all right?
I'll take a sip.
If Pete is not responding to you fast, if he turns into one of these big money guys that's on the golf course and screwing around and on a boat or I don't know, harassing pigs or whatever the other guy was doing, put it in the comments, and then everybody will know in the comments of the YouTube channel, and this will keep Pete honest with the communication. I'm not worried about it because I know the way that you communicate with me, and it is robust.
Yeah.
So, guys, that is the challenge that we give Pete. We'll keep him accountable to making sure that he's responding, and just make sure that you're sending real deals, because nothing clogs up a system like not if you're just looking to get transactional funding and you don't already have the deal sold. That's the second piece of it. It's not going to work out. You already have to have the other deal sold.
Right. Yeah.
Not the other deal. Yeah. You have to have the deal sold.
We ask that you have a contract with the seller and a contract with the buyer to submit if you have a deal. Now for proof of funds, obviously it's early on. You're making an offer, that sort of thing. But yeah, we had to get a little bit more strict with that because people were like, hey, I just got this under contract. I'm going to go out and find a buyer. And it's like, we'll be here. Like, we'll fund it. Don't worry. But wait till you have that buyer to submit it. And if a deal gets pushed, if a deal gets canceled, it happens. We don't charge. It's not like, oh, you have to pay us at least something.
Mm-hmm.
We understand. Again, from a wholesaler made for other wholesalers, like that kind of stuff happens. We say that earlier on, as soon as you get it under contract with both, submit it over, even if it's 30, 45, even if it's a 60-day closing further out. We'd rather have it on our radar because we do have days where people submit stuff last minute, like day of, and we're like, we'll do everything we can to fund it. But if we already have 4, 5, 6 that day, it can get a little hairy.
Yeah.
So yeah, just have a contract with both, submit it over, and we'll work with you.
Awesome.
So
velocityadvantagecapital.com. Peter Russell. His friends call him Pete. He's ready for you to reach out, get your proof of funds, and don't let any of these big deals get sabotaged by somebody, a cash buyer or the seller or an attorney or an uncle or an aunt or a mom or whoever that decides that they want to get into the transaction and fine-tooth comb the closing statement, which they should, which is fine. We've never really had problems with it. A couple times we've had problems with it. But for the most part, if you live in a state that requires a license and you do not want to get a license, this is perfect, right? You got those big spreads. This is perfect. So reach out to Pete and he'll hook you up. Is there like an Instagram or anything, or you just want to send them all to the website?
They can follow me on Instagram. It's Pete Russell Official on there, and I post content, getting a little bit better at that.
Are you an official?
Official.
Oh,
I got to know it.
It's your official account.
Pete Russell.
You're not an actual official.
No, official. What does that mean?
I don't know, like a referee.
Oh, no. It's referee Pete at Instagram.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, Pete Russell Official is Instagram, and then hit me on there or just Facebook message. People message me all the time.
Yep.
And I will get back to you on either platform.
Awesome.
Quickly.
Awesome. thank you for joining. Thanks for coming into town.
Yeah, no,
That's
thanks
awesome.
for having me. I appreciate it.
That's awesome. You're going to help out a lot of people. That is it for our podcast today. My name is Brent Daniels, Mr. TTP, Mr. Talk to People. We have an incredible amount of resources for you at ttpinsider.com, ttpinsider.com. Ton of courses and trainings and downloads. It's absolutely bananas. You do not want to miss out on all of those trainings and downloads and whatever. You get it. Go to ttpinsider.com. And that is it. I sign off, as I always do, encouraging you to go out there and talk to people. Love you. See you next time.